Believe it or not, you have the control panel to this world. Every action you do, the smallest action you do, creates a ripple effect on the world, creates an existence on the world, creates an experience in the world that hasn't happened otherwise. We're going to appreciate the insights of Rebbetzin Esther Baylor Schwartz on Parshat Noach. Hashem prefers to run the world in a way where it is completely natural. It goes according to the laws of nature. Hashem loves the world to flow in this way. He created a system. The Teva, the ark that Noah built with his family, was extremely, extremely above nature. It didn't make sense how his family lived there for 1 year with all of the animals that stayed with them, and these animals were different ages, different sizes, different habits, and different needs, and it doesn't even make sense how they had packed enough food for a year and lived there together. It's above nature. It doesn't make sense. It's beyond logic. The reason why the flood occurred is because Hashem, our God, wanted a new foundation in this world. He wanted a foundation built exclusively on kindness. Hashem, our God, wanted us to internalize that kindness is what runs the world. When I'm there for you, when you're there for me, when we unite, when there's harmony, when we're doing things for one another unconditionally, around the clock, Noah had to take care of the animals. He didn't sleep much. He had to constantly be on call, and it's not easy. And this actually built emunah, which is true faith in Hashem, our God. And a great amount of kindness had to be exercised in order to build this tangible emunah, which is belief in Hashem. All the children of Noah experienced the same experience of the flood, yet they came out as completely different people. Their names were Shem, Ham, and Yofez. So after the flood, Yofez decided to be just a nice guy. He experienced this amazing, amazing experience. The flood, the world is new now. The corruption is non-existent anymore in the same way. Everything is just different. He decided just to be a nice guy, to put one foot in front of the other, not to really live, to exist, to survive, to be a nice guy. Ham decided to bring pain to this world, pain to Hashem with his actions. He did not change. The experience didn't change him. Shem was the only one out of his children to really take the experience and say, listen, I just became a different person. This taught me a great amount of emunah. My emunah has heightened. The kindness that I did was an exercise for me to become a completely different person. And he actually changed. He actually changed his outlook on the world. He became a different person. We, the Jewish people, come from Shem. We, the Jewish people, have inside ourselves genes that we are just prone to do chesed. We're prone to do kindness. We want to help each other. And the only reason that we don't help each other sometimes is because we're sidetracked. We're not thinking. We're overwhelmed. We need redirection. We forgot. So we come from Shem. Now, every experience that you have in your life, you can either look at it as Hashem forgot about me, God forgot about me. Okay, I'm just going to take it. I'm just going to take this experience. I'm not going to really do anything about it. You're like Yofez. Okay, so I'll trudge along. Ham is you actually take the experience like Ham did and you actually start blaming, getting angry, thinking Hashem forgot about you, getting angry at other people, and not really seeing that as a message for you from your loving Creator for you in order to come closer to Him, for you to evaluate the situation, say, this is a gift, this experience is a gift, for you to come closer to God. Now, these three types of people, these three types of sons also gave birth to three different attitudes in the world. That's why now there's three types of people in the world. People who choose to take what Hashem gives them in their lives and make something out of it, make meaning out of it, make purpose out of it. See how what Hashem is trying to tell them. What's their purpose in this world? There's another types of attitude is anger, resentment, revenge. That's a different type of person. And another type of person is I'm just going to ignore it. Just like whatever. I'm just going to live my life. I'm retired already. I'm going to just relax. I'm just going to unwind. And it's a nice person, but there's not real meaning in their lives. So we want to be like Shem. We want to take our difficult children that Hashem gave us. If Hashem gave you a difficult child, say, you know what? This child is difficult. Not because I'm a bad mother, because this child is trying to teach me something. I can attest to you myself, my difficult children enhanced my character the most. I changed the most from my difficult children. The easy children are icing on the cake. They're a gift. Every child is a gift, but especially the child who tries your patience, whose midot, whose character traits are difficult, they're going to change you the most. Now this is the approach of Shem, the son of Noah. You take the experience and say, this is a gift. This child is teaching me sensitivity. This child is teaching me patience. This is the approach that we want to take. We don't want to blame and have resentment or just trudge along and ignore the kid and give him the iPad or the computer. Trudge along like Yofes did. Or start getting angry at the child and blaming the child and ignoring the child like Ham did. We don't want to do that. Let's take an example of a spouse. Our spouse is difficult. Now I can take that experience and I can say, listen, maybe they want me to do things that I don't really like to do. And you could say that, listen, you know what? If I'm doing this for my husband, for my spouse, they're teaching me true compassion. That you can just do something for somebody else that they like, that I don't necessarily like, but I'm going to do it for them. Or they're teaching you true love. In Judaism, true love is giving unconditionally. When you give something to someone that they like without expecting anything back, there's a true bond between you. There's a closeness. There's a different intimacy. There's a connection. And that's true love. So this is what's happening. This is what I'm doing. Now, if I want to act like Yofes, I'm just like doing a little bit of it, not doing it with good intention, not doing it with really out of love. Just like, okay, here, I did it for you. Nobody wants you to do it for them just because. You really want to do something out of love, out of good intention, out of feeling, out of happiness to do it. Or you don't want to be like Ham, getting angry at your husband. Why do you want me to do this for you? You know how much things I did for you? You know what I did already? You don't even see a 1% how much I did. You want me to do this too? Now this is anger. This is anger. This is approach of blame, resentment, anger, competition. There's no such thing as 50-50 in the marriage. You give 100% and your spouse needs to look at his 100%. Even if he doesn't look at his 100%, when he sees you're doing 100%, he's going to want to do 100% too. He's going to see that you're changing, that you're acting different, and he's going to also want to do more for you. So, Hashem does everything for everyone, but there's one thing Hashem will never do to anyone, and that is he will never force himself down anybody's throat. If a person wants to ignore Hashem and say, you know what, this is what's happening to me in life, Hashem is not going to force himself down into your life. You have to welcome him. You have to see him. You have to look for him. You have to recognize him. He will never force himself down anybody's throat. In this life, you have to choose. You have a choice. You can choose to introspect and you will see Hashem loving you, hugging you, guiding you. Or you can trudge along, survive, and not really live. Or, God forbid, you can bring destruction to the world by thinking you live in a vacuum. Now, nobody lives in a vacuum, but many people, unfortunately, believe that they live in a vacuum, that if somebody bugs them, people have to know about it. And they need to be respected. That's true, but not at the expense of somebody else's discomfort and embarrassment, God forbid. So, the way a person lives their life affects the physicality of the world. In other words, the kindness that I do affects the world in a physical way. A visit to the elderly, me not honking right away when the car doesn't move, maybe me waiting 10 seconds, not answering back, calling someone just to say hello. Literally, you have to call and say hello, not need anything. It's hard, I know. A genuine thank you to a family member without asking them for anything. Giving $1 to charity. It's only a small act. It doesn't cost anything, really, just to smile at someone or just to say a thank you, but it goes a long way. In this way, I change the world entirely. My act of kindness changes the world for the good, or God forbid, my negative actions can destroy the world as well. So when you're doing a kind act, all of a sudden somebody else gets a job, she gets married, he proposes, she finally gets pregnant, the car accident doesn't happen, the landing is safe, the kid doesn't trip and fall running down the street. It's thank God, it's a safe run. And this is how we can affect the world. Every small thing that you do affects the world in a big way. It's funny. This happened this week. I bring my baby to the doctor, and I had to park the car. I was really rushing for my appointment because the doctor's office was closing. And I remember parking the car and rushing out. And I didn't really pay attention too much to any signs. I knew that I parked in the right place. It wasn't alternate side parking kind of thing. It was fine. So I parked and I rushed out with my baby to the doctor's office. I come back and I see this huge tow truck that's parked. It's a one-way street, but the tow truck was parked the other way and towing two cars. And I hear the man saying, she's here. She's going to move the car. And then I see next to me on the tree, there's like a green sign saying no parking 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. And my car wasn't towed. I looked around. There were no tickets. I was so grateful. They could have easily fined me. They could have towed my car. They could have told me something. Nothing at all. Somebody else did a kindness for someone. Somebody didn't answer back. Somebody ignored somebody's faults. And you know what? Somebody ignored what I did. And this is beautiful. How grateful I am. What if my car was towed? I don't live close to the doctor's office. I would have had to find another way to come back home. It would have been very hard. So, we don't see everything that happens in the world because that isn't our job. Our job is to do what we were hired to do, which is to live our life with kindness, with emunah. We all have challenges, but Noah taught us how to approach life when life gets hard. Noah taught us that it is better to be uncomfortable in this world than to be uncomfortable in the next world. Guess what? Discomfort isn't fatal. Nobody will die from a little discomfort. It's not easy to go visit someone who's sick. It's not easy to make that phone call. It's not easy to visit someone who needs you, or make that soup for a friend. It's taking time out of your relaxing time. It's not easy. It's not easy. It's a little bit uncomfortable to say good morning to someone because nobody talks to anyone anymore. Unfortunately, most people don't say good morning. It's not easy to get out of your comfort zone and say good morning, but you just change the person's hour of the day, or now the person has a bounce in their step when they're walking. Somebody recognized them. Somebody paid attention. Or that phone call to a friend just to say hello. It's not easy to take time because it involves thinking. It involves a commitment. So, discomfort isn't fatal. As we know, every generation that exists is spiritually lower than the previous generation. So, Noach's generation was spiritually much closer to Adam. The generation was very, very different, much closer than we are. However, this is exactly what's meant to happen. However, they were extremely brilliant people. We cannot mistake that. They were extremely, extremely brilliant. So one person is so brilliant that it takes it doesn't even compare to a large audience, a large crowd in this generation, because it's just different. Times are different. People were different. However, they were extremely, extremely corrupt. Now, the corruption had to end, had to stop. That's why the flood happened. Hashem wanted a new foundation in the world. But please don't mistake that these were still great people. Great people have great evil inclinations. They have a lot to control. We may mistakenly think that great people, righteous people, have it easy, and that's not true. The more righteous a person is, the harder it is for them. They have a lot to work on. They have a lot to control. But the good news is the more that you work on yourself, it becomes a part of you. You become a different person. It becomes, you are whatever you practice. So whatever you take upon yourself, it becomes a part of you eventually. We must not forget that evil people aren't born monsters. Evil people, the Yetzer Hara is the evil inclination. It doesn't come at you saying, as a big burly monster. It doesn't. It comes to you saying, just do this one time. Eat a little bit of brownie. Before you know it, you ate the whole brownie. You ruined your diet, or you ate the whole plate of cookies or the cake. And, it starts with a small thing. It says you deserve it. You're worth so much more. It comes to you as a friend. It's not really a friend. So in order for you to understand how to battle the enemy, how to overcome the enemy, the evil inclination, each of us has an enemy, the evil inclination, who tries to battle and ruin our moods and ruin our days. We have to know their tactics. So they want a little bit of something, right? They say just one yell, one curse, one bang, one slam. You know what? Let's try to stop it at one. Because what happens is once it starts, it could be more. It could be more curses, more yelling, louder bangs, more anger. So it's important for us to internalize that if we're experiencing this, just one, eventually it's going to be numb. To forgive yourself, to give yourself a new start, because no one's perfect. And remember, every small act defines the person you are becoming. There is no limit to how low a person can go. There's no limit to how low a person can sink. And there's no limit to how high a person can soar. May we merit to recognize our great responsibility and privilege to make this world a better place to live in, one small act at a time. Leah Abramov, Being and Becoming.